Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. My name is Fiona Murphy, and I am the chair of the MA Refugee Integration Studies. And I'm in the same school as Olga, so indeed, one of the joyful things about being in this school is that there's an awful lot going on, and as you can see from what she just said, there's a lot of sort of overlap as well in terms of the kinds of things that are available to engage with. So DCU is actually Ireland's first University of Sanctuary, and it's into this sort of whole idea of sanctuary that the programme sits. Can I have the next slide, please? So the programme is available part-time, in hybrid mode, so there will be the opportunity to do this programme remotely in a blended fashion with some on-campus contact, and then there's a full-time in person for a year option. So the modules attempt to give you a range of policy, theory, and very, very practical experience around issues around, individuals seeking asylum and refugee. You can just see there that we have 3 core modules in the first semester, the host societies and forced migration, which is very much a module that speaks to policy, looking at how, I suppose, the very, very blunt aspects of policy intersect with the lived experience of seeking asylum for those who are forcibly displaced. We have a very particular focus on the EU in that module, because that's largely our area of expertise, but we do bring in guest speakers who speak to asylum and refuge in the global south and in North America. So the next core module is a wonderful module called the Refugee Journey, which is taught by Dr. Julie Daniel. And this is a module that's very, very blended in terms of its approaches. It brings in creative approaches, it brings in sociological approaches, and a little bit of policy approaches as well. And it's very much focused on, as the title says, the journey of someone seeking asylum, and all the different kinds of encounters that they may have along that journey with other individuals, with NGOs, with policy, and all of those kinds of intersections. There is a small literature component to that module as well, so looking at the lived experience of the refugee journey through creative interpretations. Also, Julie brings in a lot of guest speakers into that module. You'll hear from people who are involved in the movement for asylum seekers in Ireland. You'll hear from people who work around trauma and torture treatment. So you'll have a very, very sort of hands-on sense of the sort of psychosocial impacts of the journey on people seeking refuge. The next core module is around education and language, very, very, very important issues given, particularly given the educational lag that a lot of younger people who are seeking asylum face. They're often out of education for a number of years. So this is looking at education through that lens, through the lens of sanctuary, through the lens of trauma-informed approaches, and engages a lot as well with, I suppose, what universities, what schools should be doing in terms of curriculum and pedagogical approaches. So they're your core modules in semester 1. You'll also be doing a research methods module which runs across the year. That research module is actually going to be shared next year with the Masters in Gender and Sexuality, which Olga just spoke about. So you'll have a chance there to mix with another cohort, which is wonderful. And the research module runs across the year and then leads to the dissertation project which you will do across the summer, and the dissertation project is entirely something that you devise yourself in conversation with a dedicated supervisor who will meet you across that period of time. Semester 2 is slightly different. We have one core module, which is the gender, sexuality and migration module, and then with that again you'll be sharing that module with the other cohort, and also it's open to some students taking IR and political science, so you will get a chance to engage with other people there. Could I have the next slide, please? So the second semester, you have a massive suite of optional modules to take as well. These modules are anchored in other schools as well as SALIS, so particularly coming from law and government. You have the option of doing a module called Working with Refugees and Asylum Seekers, and that module is lower on contact hours because it's a kind of a placement module. So you will work, volunteer in an organization and then come back into class, and the contact hours are based around upskilling a little bit, professionalization, the kinds of things that you might need to know for working in different kinds of organizations within that space. The other module is a wonderful module around thinking through the lens of translation in the context of crisis, translation in the context of disaster, and a lot of our students find this to be a really, really engaging module in lots of different ways. The next set of modules largely come from the law and government. As you can see, just looking down through them, they vary greatly. We are this year also introducing a new module on climate displacement. Obviously, the numbers of people being forcibly displaced because of the climate crisis is just increasing. So being equipped with knowledge in that area is going to be really vital for anyone wanting to work in that space. The other modules, as you can see, are vary between looking at policy and governance, looking at peace building, looking at environmental change, all of the things that intersect with issues to do with forced displacement. Thank you. Next slide, please. So if you are to decide to do a blended online form of the program, then you will decide to do, in fact, a more streamlined version. So the modules that we can offer online will only be our core modules. And the elective modules in semester 2, because they belong to another school, will be in person. So you can either take them in person or you can stay with the offerings that we retain online in the second semester. And if you're full-time, of course, you have the range available to you to do, whether to do in person or online. Next slide, please. Yeah, so again, as I said, this is a program which very much straddles the worlds of theory, policy, but also practice. And because DCU is a university of sanctuary, as I said at the start, there's an awful lot of opportunities for you to engage in volunteering, engage with work around people seeking asylum. Even in the school itself, we run the integration network, and in this network we teach voluntarily English every morning from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. We also have a mentorship program which Dr. Julie Daniels runs called MELI, which is a buddy system of pairing up amongst the DCU community and people seeking asylum and refuge. And we have a very, very strong sanctuary team in the university, and do have sanctuary scholarships if there are any of you listening who have lived experience of seeking refuge yourself. Yeah, so I suppose one of the really important aspects of this program is, in terms of, you saw the range of electives there, it allows you really to sort of design in the second semester particularly, and through your dissertation, your own sort of pathway. So if you're more interested in politics and conflicts and the context of forced displacement there, then you can carve out that path. If you're more interested in policy, working in government policy organisations, you can also carve out that path. And then a lot of our students actually end up working in the NGO sector. In recent years, we've seen the number of positions increasing in that space, of course, largely as numbers of those seeking asylum has increased internationally. And social justice really is at the heart of the programme. Social justice, human rights, having a sense of advocacy, all of those are embedded in the programme in lots of different ways, and you'll get to engage with people who work in that fashion. Thank you. Next slide, please. Yep. So I think pretty much as I've said, we will from next year on have the opportunity of doing blended or in person. We focus a lot in the program on lots of small group activities. We largely the assessment is in continuous assessment and dissertation based. But we also within that offer students a variety of options to kind of be more experimental. Some of our assignments are podcasts, for example. Some of them are based around making short videos. We've been able to kind of resource that in previous years. We have some examples that we can show you. And of course, then there's the standard aspects of having to write an essay and all of that. But if you are somebody who is working for a long time and haven't studied for a long time, DCU is brilliant for offering supports around academic literacy for those coming back to education. It's brilliant for supporting mature students, and every year we have a number of students who are coming back to education after a number of years. So our classes, our program tends to be very, very diverse, with people from all over the world, people with different levels of experience, and people from very different academic backgrounds. And that's what makes this program a very lively, engaging one, where there's generally a lot of peer support and engagement with the outside world around these extremely urgent issues. Next slide. Thank you. Yeah, I think I more or less said this. I mean, the jobs and they're broadening, but a lot, we get a lot of people coming to upskill from the NGO sector. We get a lot of people who've had lived experience of seeking refuge themselves coming, and then we have people who are coming directly out of their undergraduate programs and have a focus maybe on policy work or advocacy work. So the range is very, very broad there. But I'm happy we have some interesting statistics gathered around where our graduates have ended up. So if any of you are interested in seeing that, by all means, I'm happy to share. All you have to do is send me an email. So I think that's it. So just to say that I hope you think about this as one of the offerings. If you do, it's a very, very unique program. It's a program that addresses one of the most urgent sort of issues of our time, and you'll get to be part of a team that works very hard to advocate around issues to do with forced displacement. So thank you very much for listening to me, and I'll just pop my email into the box there.